Every one of us is tasked with bringing the world to perfection. This week's Parsha reveals a secret to help us do just that. Parashah Eikev opens with a familiar sentiment. It shall be because you heed these mitzvot and observe and perform them. And then goes on to list all the reward that will come our way if we observe the mitzvot. This is a familiar idea. We keep our part of the covenant by performing the mitzvot, and Hashem reciprocates by taking care of us. We see that same sentiment in various places across Torah, most famously in the second paragraph of the Shema, which also happens to be in this week's Parsha. But if we look at what Rashi says about this opening verse, we see something surprising. Rashi says, when you see the word Eikev in the opening line, that hints at the word Akev, meaning heel, as in, if even the lighter commandments, which a person usually treads on with his heels, i.e. which a person is inclined to treat lightly, you will hearken to. Rashi takes this relatively straightforward opening line and says, no, it's not saying that if you keep the mitzvot, you will get rewarded. According to Rashi, this verse is specifically saying if you keep the minor mitzvot, you will get rewarded. Why does Rashi seem to go out of his way to make the verse more complicated? Rashi is usually known for providing the simple understanding of the verse, and only goes out of his way to provide a more complex understanding when there's some issue with the text that he's trying to resolve. So what's the issue? Or to ask a famous question, what's bothering Rashi? Let's compare this opening verse of the Parsha to the similar idea expressed in the Shema. In the Shema we read, if you will diligently obey my mitzvot, which I enjoin upon you this day, to love the Lord your God and serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, I will give rain for your land at the proper time, the early rain and the late rain, and you will gather in your grain, your wine, and your oil, and I will give grass in your fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Keep the mitzvot, and Hashem will make sure you always have enough food to eat. Simple enough. Let's compare that to the opening of the Parsha. What is the reward Hashem promises there? Well, I won't read it all because it goes on and on for more than 10 verses. Hashem will bless and multiply you and your possessions. You shall be fertile, blessed with health and wealth. You will be victorious over your enemies. On and on and on. The reward here is so much greater than any other time the Torah talks about the reward of keeping mitzvot. That's what is bothering Rashi. If this is the same deal as we read everywhere else, why is the reward here so much greater? Allow me to digress into my personal life for a second. Some of you will know we just got a new puppy. So I'm learning a lot about puppy training methods. One idea that all the trainers talk about is different levels of reward. You have low value reward, maybe a piece of the dog's kibble, which you use to train run-of-the-mill commands. Then you have high value rewards, a tasty treat that you use to train more important commands. Finally, you have super high value rewards, the dog's most favorite treat that you reserve only for the most important commands. The reward Hashem is promising in the opening verse is a super high value reward, which must mean what Hashem is asking of us in the opening verse is the most important of things. Putting all of these ideas together, keeping the minor mitzvot is the most important of things, worthy of the highest value reward. Chaverim, my friends, this is such an important Jewish idea. Yes, there are big, important, visible mitzvot that we all need to keep, like Shabbat and Kashrut. And if you're ready to start taking on those mitzvot, Chazak u'baruch, go with strength and with blessing. But it's the small mitzvot, the day-to-day ones that might go under the radar that truly define who we are. Recite the Shema every day to acknowledge your relationship with Hashem. Give a little charity to someone in need to remember that all people are created in Hashem's image. Add one Jewish book to your bookshelf to bring a little Torah into your home. Consciously notice the mezuzah on your door every time you pass through to remember Hashem is always protecting us. Love your fellow, because all Jews everywhere are family. Even more than grand statements of faith, these little things, day in and day out, are what make us the kinds of people Hashem wants us to be, and ultimately brings the reward Hashem promises in the opening verses of our Parsha. That's one thing we can learn from this week's Parsha. How will you step up this week to bring the world a little closer to perfection? Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisroel Chai.